Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric, and today I watched Doom Patrol Episode 6, Doom Patrol Patrol. I also went to see Sinbad perform at the Comedy Works Landmark here in Colorado, and oh man, that was a great show. It started at 7:30, and the featured act, his first name is Chase. I'm not sure what his last name is. I should have looked that up. But he was very funny. And then he goes to introduce Sinbad, and then Sinbad's just like right outside the curtain. He's like, calls him over, and has a discreet word with him. And then Chase comes back out and says, "Well, you need me to ask someone to unlock the bathroom back here." So they made that a whole thing. He was killing time until Sinbad was ready to go, and then he comes out, and I was not expecting this. Chase stayed on stage with him the entire show, as just like bouncing off of him, being kind of a sounding board. It reminded me a lot of like I don't know, like a duo acts from way back when. You haven't really seen these a lot. I guess you could kind of. No, I don't want to draw that comparison. It was way better than what I was about to say, but it reminded me a little bit of like an Abbott and Costello type of thing, but it wasn't so much of like setting up the punchlines with him, but just playing off of him more, getting his reaction to all the stuff that Sinbad is saying. And it worked really well. There's some great crowd interaction, and the show ended up going until I kind of want to go see him again. I was tempted to go again tonight, but it's really cold today. But he's still here tomorrow, and I'm really tempted. I'm recording this on Friday, and I'm gonna look it up real quick. If the evening show isn't sold out yet. I think the evening show is sold out on Saturday. No, it's still available. Tickets are still available for the late show on Saturday. I want to go to the late show, even though it might start a little bit later than the scheduled time. But what was I saying? It started at 7:30. It ended at like 10:15, something like that. Because there's only the one show on Thursday, and it was so funny. I was laughing the entire time. It was so much fun. So if Sinbad is performing at a club near you, coming up soon or in the distant future, grab a ticket and go. You will have a lot of fun. He had a lot to say. He had a lot to say about Denver. Since he's here, but he had a lot to say about the young generation and raising kids and stuff like that. He's kind of like giving advice to Chase throughout the entire night and to the rest of us. And I wasn't really expecting anything. I don't know what my expectations were. I expecting him to be pretty funny. I like a lot of his movies I watched growing up. I haven't seen him I haven't seen any of his stuff lately. I think maybe the last thing was he on Celebrity Apprentice? I think that's maybe the last time I saw him on TV or anything. But I was so glad. I don't regret it one bit. And like I said, I might go see him again late tomorrow night. He's so funny. So funny. Also this week, before I get to actual Doom Patrol, I gotta recommend. I already talked about this a couple of weeks ago when I got to see it early. Tacoma FD. It started on True TV. Go check your listings. Go check on demands and whatnot. It's super funny. And then also What We Do in the Shadows started this week on FX, and that is really funny too. I actually bought the season pass on Amazon. Just because I'm a little bit weary about my DVR function on DirecTV now, after what happened with last week's episode of The Walking Dead. So like, I'm just gonna buy the episode and then that's it. Then I don't have to worry about it. I might have to wait a little bit to watch it, but as far as What We Do in the Shadows goes, it's a comedy, half-hour comedy. You're not gonna really get spoilers for that, so I don't mind waiting to watch that one. But both of these shows, it's a great week for comedy, is what I'm saying. There's also a new Superstore and AP Bio were hilarious as always. Except last week, it was like the best episode of like anything that I've seen in a while, especially as far as comedy goes, of AP Bio. Oh, it was so funny. It was just like in the 20 minutes before school started. Like the whole episode takes place in those 20 minutes and it has all this stuff going on. It's so good. You got to go see it. I watched the rest of the show too. It helps to know the characters a little bit going into that more conceptual type of episode. But it is so well done and it's so freaking hilarious. But there's a new show. I don't know what the fourth show on Thursday nights on NBC is. I haven't actually paid attention to the schedule. I just see what pops up on Hulu. But a new show started this week. I forget all of the actors' names, but a lot of familiar faces on the show. It's called Abby's, and it's about a backyard bar, like a neighborhood hangout, and it's filmed in front of a live audience, like on an outdoor set. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if that's like the only gimmick about the show that got them to make it or something. I don't know, but it is pretty funny. I like it a lot. You've got the guy playing Abby, and then those other people that are playing other people. You got the one guy, I think he's I can't remember any of these people's names. I believe he's on Veep, but he's the landlord. And this first episode is him and trying to figure out what the heck is going on here. And then you also got the dad from the middle. You also know him as the janitor from Scrubs. He's very funny on there as well. And then there's a few other people, like main people, that are also very funny. But it is a multi-camera. It's a multi-camera show, but it doesn't look like one, but it is one, and that's because of how it's assembled, like the production, the set design, and all of that. Because it's an outdoor stage, so it has this different look to it, but it does have that live audience, so it's pretty interesting. All right, well, let's get talking about Doom Patrol. Because I only have a few megabytes of data left for this month. As far as the podcast goes, actually, I already like archived part of this month's stuff because I was approaching the maximum storage for the monthly plan over there, but we're right at the end of the month, so this will be the last episode I post until like Monday, when the data resets for April. So I can ramble a little bit because I can't remember a whole lot from Doom Patrol, like specifics. I did watch it yesterday, and then I went to that show, and then I went and did this other. Actually, I watched this 2 days ago, and then went to that show, and then did some other stuff and all that. Watched those new comedies, and so there's not a lot of specifics that I want to talk about for this episode of Doom Patrol. It's we see Jane pursuing whatever the heck Doom Patrol is, and she finds out that it was a team, a superhero team from like the 40s, 30s, 40s, or 50s. It was a decade long ago, and so she teleports herself, Rita, and Larry Trainer over to this like academy. It seems like they come across these teachers, teaching some students, and it's this whole weird situation. There's an administrator who's trying to explain what's going on there, and it looks like really nice, and everything's really clean, and these guys from the 30s, 40s, they're still young, and they're there, and they can talk, and they tell them about, except they're really finicky about Mr. Nobody because they encountered Mr. Nobody and it really messed them up. Spoilers. Okay, yeah, spoilers, I should say. I'm talking about what happened with the twists of this episode. As it turns out, they got really jacked up and they're in this fantasy world concocted by the main guy, Mento. And so he has this helmet that amplifies his abilities, and he's basically creating this facade. That building is actually there, but it's like super run down and like crap. It's crap. But he's creating this illusion for everybody who's in the vicinity of it, which is really him and his two teammates and the administrator. And I guess if the administrator is being... no, I think he's immune to it. Because he's kind of fooling them. Like at the end of the episode, we see them posing for a picture, but really he's like preparing all of their medications to take over to them, to the trio. But I thought it was a really cool episode. It was still weird, not nearly as weird as Colt and Paw Patrol. But I mean, we get more information about what's going on with Niles and Mr. Nobody, all that story with them. And we get the original Doom Patrol here. And I think we'll see them actually take on that moniker for themselves real soon, hopefully. Back at the house, we have Robot Man, Cliff Steele. He's trying to reconnect with his daughter, who he's discovered is still alive, and he finds her on some Facebook equivalent. I think it's called like not face. I don't know what it is, but he tries to get people to help, and they're not interested at all. He finally convinces Vic Cyborg to help him after he agrees to keep an eye on Vic's dad when he puts him to sleep to do like the diagnostics and resetting and all of that after what happened in the last episode. So, yeah, it was kind of cool. They're both like kind of dealing with family stuff. They can kind of relate to each other, and lots of swearing. This show probably has the most swearing out of any show that I watch. Like, I can't even think of what other show. Deadwood probably is the only show that has more swearing than Doom Patrol. Because there's lots of WTFs dropped abound, and some interesting ones like F Knuckle that he calls Robot Man calls Vic's dad. I thought that was pretty cool. And then Jane, she goes when she first meets the teachers at the place, who turn out to be part of the original Doom Patrol, and they're actually really old ladies, but they think that they're still young, etc. But she tells one of them to go F themselves in their effing face or something like that. I enjoyed that. That was pretty funny. I totally skipped over. We have the flashback aspect of this episode because the relationship between Mento and Rita Farr is like a huge thing with this whole episode. We get those flashbacks about how she like accidentally killed this movie producer and stuff. And then since he can read minds, he like figured that out about her, that she wasn't forthcoming about it, and it was very bad for both of them, and they split up. All that kind of stuff is cool to see. I like that they're doing a flashback. Each episode has that kind of format, that we have the A-B stories, and then the C story is like the flashback kind of thing. But sometimes the flashback is the main story. It's one of the three at least. So I really, really like how they've been doing that. So the next episode, I don't even know where things are going to go from here. It's called Therapy Patrol. So we're going to be having to deal with all this stuff that's going on, all these revelations about their pasts and all of that. The big thing for Cyborg is that his dad actually enabled privacy mode. He's not going to be listening in at all from now on, or so he says. But also, Cyborg, when he goes in for a hug, he steals the little the dongle, the USB dongle. What did he call it in Spider-Verse? He has a name for it. It's a good name. It's a good name for the USB dongle things. But dongle is a good word for it too. It's kind of a gross word. So what's he gonna? He starts like hacking himself, like going into his own code and doing stuff, and that could be pretty interesting. We'll see what happens with all of that. I wonder again if this is all. You know what? I think I'm going to go back and watch the Doom Patrol episode of Titans and try to see where this, or I could just look it up, search for where's the Doom Patrol Titans fit in the Doom Patrol timeline, something like that. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next. Lots of huge announcements today at WonderCon in Anaheim, I believe it is. That DC Universe announcements. It looks like Stargirl is not coming this year. It's going to be in 2020. But the images, or at least the one image that I saw, she looks awesome. And if that's the time that they need to take, then that's all right. But the flip side of that is that rumors were going around that Titans was going to be delayed. It wasn't going to come out until next year. But they announced that Titans is going to be coming this fall. So I think it's taking the place that Stargirl was originally going to be in. And it looks like everything else is pretty much on track. They're adding Krypton on April 5th, season 1, which I'm buying all this stuff on Blu-ray anyway. So I'm not going to watch a whole lot. The only stuff that I'm watching on there really is like the old stuff. Like I was watching some Shazam last week, and then of course the weekly brand new stuff that's not out on Blu-ray. We got that, and then we also have Justice League versus the Fatal Five, I think it is. That's coming out on DC Universe the same day as on home video, DVD and Blu-ray. So that's absolutely worth grabbing. If not grabbing, like that's worth the subscription. Just a month's subscription, you'll get to watch that brand new movie out there. But yeah, I think those are the major ones. Oh, and they're adding a huge amount of comics to starting in April. Over 20,000 comics on there, which it worries me a little bit because the UI isn't that great for browsing the comics. Like the featured section, it works really well, but once you're like trying to find, like if you're trying to browse like a lot of stuff, it's hard to figure out. You have to know exactly what you're looking for, if that makes sense. So hopefully that comes with some improvements so that it's a lot more user-friendly experience trying to find comics, the exact comics that you want to read, or more so the browsing to find the kind of comics that you want to read. But anyway, I'm really excited for all of that. This DC Universe app is awesome, and hopefully it's opened up to the rest of the world sometime soon. It's still, all of it is still only available in the United States, so that's really the only bummer of it. But I think you can get Comixology and/or I don't think DC Universe is like the unlimited comics thing now for DC. But anyway, go check that out. I mean, if you're listening to this episode for Doom Patrol, you most likely are already at least interested in DC Universe. So that's just more news to get excited about for it. So let me know what you thought about Doom Patrol or Sinbad or Abby's or what else was there that I talked about? Superstore or or AP Bio. I'm not going to talk about all of those every week, but I might make this the catch-all of the other TV shows I've been watching, since I end up like watching them all at once, like on Thursday, right before I watch the Doom Patrol episode. Episode 7 is out as I am recording this, but I haven't watched it yet. But I'll probably post that episode like on Monday or Tuesday. I'm actually going to watch it probably right now. So let me know what you thought about all that stuff by tweeting me at TIW Podcast. Go to TIWpodcast.com for more reviews. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else on the site, please share some links with your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. And I'll be back real soon with more here on TIW Podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye.